Regardless of whether you prefer your superhero content in the form of epic blockbuster movies, streaming TV shows, or good old-fashioned comic books, Marvel has a lot planned for 2024. Deadpool is finally joining the MCU, X-Men the animated series is returning on Disney+, and the Ultimate Universe is back in the pages of Marvel Comics. And that's not even counting the many Marvel games that are currently in development. So, from movies to TV series to comics to video games, here's a breakdown of everything you can expect from Marvel in 2024.
We got a code red! The Avengers Tower's been overtaken!
On Christmas? What is this, Con Air? No, wait, Under Siege? No. Oh, that's not it.
Hey, John McClane, focus!
No one can deny that the MCU had a rough go of it in 2023. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania underperformed, while The Marvels was an outright box office bust. On the streaming side, Secret Invasion proved to be one of Marvel's biggest critical misfires in years, and that's not even getting into the effects of the months-long Hollywood strikes or how Marvel's plans for Kang will change. The character was being set up to be a Thanos-level threat, but after Loki and Quantumania star Jonathan Majors was convicted of assault, Marvel announced they'd be cutting ties with the actor entirely moving forward. In light of all those problems, it's not surprising that Marvel Studios is taking a step back in 2024 to regroup. Expect an unusually light year in terms of new MCU content, with only one new movie and 2 live-action series currently on the slate. The last time we only got one new MCU movie in a single year was way back in 2012 with the original Avengers. The good news is that this one movie is a pretty big deal. The currently untitled Deadpool 3 is due for release on July 26, 2024. This is the movie that bridges the gap between Fox's X-Men universe and the MCU. Not only is Ryan Reynolds returning as the wisecracking, fourth-wall-breaking Wade Wilson, he's bringing Hugh Jackman's Wolverine out of retirement and along for the ride. We're finally getting the Deadpool and Wolverine team-up that we've always wanted. Ending of Logan be damned. All signs point to plenty more veterans of the Fox Marvel movies putting in appearances too. Set photos have already spoiled some returning villains, and Jennifer Garner is reportedly reprising her role as Elektra. What's next, a full-fledged reunion of the 2005 Fantastic Four cast? Well, seriously, that could happen. Anything's possible in a Deadpool sequel. Marvel's keeping the plot of Deadpool 3 tightly under wraps for now. Rumors suggest the TVA from Loki will factor in, which makes sense considering that Wade was running amok in the timeline when we last saw him in 2018's Deadpool 2. The question now is whether the sequel is meant to be a standalone buddy team-up or something that helps pave the way for Avengers Secret Wars. The studio also has 2 live-action series debuting on Disney Plus in 2024. The first is Echo, a Hawkeye spin-off starring Alaqua Cox as the hard-hitting criminal enforcer and Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson, the Kingpin Fisk. Between the gritty tone and the inclusion of Daredevil veterans like D'Onofrio and Daredevil himself, Charlie Cox, the series may just be what we need to tide us over until Daredevil Born Again, though that series is currently undergoing a creative overhaul, so we're not holding our breath that it's going to hit in 2024. That said, all 5 episodes of Echo will premiere on both Disney Plus and Hulu on January 10th. Much later in the year, the WandaVision spin-off Agatha Darkhold Diaries will pick up where WandaVision left off. Catherine Hahn is back as the mischievous spellcaster Agatha, and she's joined by a cast that includes Joe Locke, Patti LuPone, Aubrey Plaza, Sashir Zameda, Maria Dizia, Miles Gutierrez-Riley, and Okwe Opokwasili. Emma Caulfield and Deborah Jo Rupp will also be reprising their WandaVision roles. There's no word on if we'll see Elizabeth Olsen showing up as the Scarlet Witch, but rumors do suggest that Locke is playing Wanda's son, Wiccan. Finally, it's worth pointing out that the Ironheart series has finished production. It's not currently on the schedule for 2024, but that could potentially change if Marvel Studios decides it has a hole to fill.
Oxygen, 0%.
With Marvel Studios and DC both taking a much-needed breather in 2024, there's suddenly a void in the superhero movie department. Leave it to Sony to step in with no fewer than 3 new live-action movies set in their so-called Sony's Spider-Man universe. The first of these is Madam Web, which stars Dakota Johnson as the precognitive heroine Cassandra Webb. While there's still no indication that Spider-Man himself is appearing, which is par for the course for these Sony movies by now, we are getting multiple Spider-Women in the form of Sydney Sweeney's Julia Carpenter, Celeste O'Connor's Maddie Franklin, and Isabella Merced's Anya Corazon. Madam Web hits theaters on February 14th. Then the long-delayed Kraven the Hunter is set to open on August 30th. This villain-centric film stars Aaron Taylor Johnson as Sergei Kravenov, Ariana DeBose as Calypso, Russell Crowe as Nikolai Kravenov, Fred Heschinger as Chameleon, and Alessandro Nivola as Rhino.
What was that?
Finally, Venom fans can look forward to more of Eddie Brock on November 8th. We know very little about this sequel, other than that star Tom Hardy is returning and that Juno Temple and Chiwetel Ejiofor are joining the cast. Writer Kelly Marcel is also making her debut behind the camera for Venom 3, or whatever they decide to call it. The big question is whether any of these Sony Spider-Man universe movies can scratch that Marvel movie itch. The Venom series has its fans, but Morbius didn't exactly open to a warm welcome in 2022. Is there demand for Spider-Man movies without Spidey in the spotlight? We'll find out over the course of 2024. Sadly, there's one Sony movie that fans shouldn't be holding their breath for in the new year. While Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse was originally dated for March 29th, it's since been pulled from Sony's release schedule. We'll probably have to wait until at least 2025 to see how that trilogy wraps up.
What are we all waiting for? Invitations?
I got invitations right here.
Alongside their 2 live-action MCU shows, Marvel also has a new animated series hitting Disney Plus in early 2024, and it's a big one. X-Men 97 is the continuation of the classic X-Men the Animated Series, and it picks up where the old show left off, in 1997. X-Men 97 features many returning faces from the original series, but what's worth getting excited about is the returning voices, including Cal Dodd's Wolverine, Lenore Zahn's Rogue, and George Buza's Beast. The series was created by Beau DeMaio, who previously served as writer on Moon Knight. Fans can look forward to a 10-episode first season with at least one more season already in the works. We're also hoping to finally learn more about Marvel's long-gestating Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, previously known as Spider-Man Freshman Year, which focuses on a young Peter Parker early in his costume career. That series is still slated for a November 2024 release, but we'll see if it sticks to that release date. Other than that, this coming year is slim pickings on the animated Marvel front. It's always possible the 3rd season of What If could drop before the end of the year, but the long gap between seasons 1 and 2 doesn't give us a ton of hope. There's also the newly announced Black Panther spin-off Eyes of Wakanda, but there's no indication that that series is dropping in 2024. It may be a relatively light year on the film and TV front, but we can always count on Marvel to offer plenty of new reading material. All eyes are on the X-Men line in 2024 as Marvel wraps up one major era of the franchise and begins a new one. 5 years after dramatically reshaping the X-Men line with 2019's House of X and Powers of X, Marvel is finally bringing that storyline to an end. Fittingly, they're doing so with 2 new interconnected series called Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of X. The X-Men are making their final stand against their enemies at Orchis and will learn once and for all whether the new mutant nation can survive or if mutants are destined to be hunted and feared for all time. As if that weren't dramatic enough, we're also getting the first big showdown between Wolverine and Sabretooth in the Krakoan era. That violent clash will play out in a new storyline called Wolverine: The Sabretooth War. Once those stories wrap up sometime in the summer, Marvel's executive editor Tom Brevoort is making the jump from the Avengers line to spearhead a new direction for the X-Books. We know very little about what Marvel has planned for the X-Men from that point forward. Will we see a return to a familiar status quo with the X-Men operating out of their mansion in New York? Will there still be a mutant civilization on Mars? Will the X-Men still be immortal? For now, we can only wait and guess. January also marks the true start of Marvel's new Ultimate Universe imprint. The new Ultimate line isn't a direct continuation of the old one, but the goal is the same: to give readers fresh, updated takes on iconic characters that aren't tied down by decades of continuity. All eyes are on Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cicchetto's Ultimate Spider-Man, which features an older, married Peter Parker just becoming Spider-Man for the first time. The Ultimate line also includes Brian Edward Hill and Stefano Caselli's Ultimate Black Panther and Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men. Marvel usually kicks off the summer season with a major crossover event, and 2024 is no exception. This year's big crossover is Blood Hunt by writer Jed MacKay and artist Pepe Larraz. When the world is trapped in an eternal night, Vampire Hunter Blade will have to rally the Avengers, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man to save humanity from the undead hordes. Blood Hunt will be published as a limited series, but expect plenty of tie-ins and spin-offs as this conflict expands to encompass the entire Marvel universe. Bear in mind, those are just 3 of Marvel's big comic book projects planned for 2024. Elsewhere, we're looking forward to the return of Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin, as the Amazing Spider-Man nears the issue number 50 mark, and we'll meet a brand new Moon Knight as Marvel launches The Vengeance of the Moon Knight in January. Finally, we're waiting to see what Marvel has in store for the Star Wars line as the Dark Droids crossover wraps up. What new Star Wars comics will we see in 2024? Will Marvel continue focusing on the post-Empire Strikes Back era, or will they move into the period of the sequels? There's still so much territory to explore in a galaxy far, far away. 2023 was a great year for Marvel gamers as we finally got to play Insomniac's Spider-Man 2. We're not necessarily expecting another AAA Marvel game to drop in 2024, but with 5 major ones in development right now, it's always possible. Spidey fans can almost surely look forward to some Spider-Man 2 DLC at some point in 2024. The main game leaves plenty of room for more story content, with villains like Carnage and Chameleon being teased as future threats in a post-Venom New York City. Beyond that, Insomniac is hard at work on their Wolverine game. Again, we're not expecting that game to release so soon after Spider-Man 2, but we're hoping to at least learn more about the project and see some actual gameplay. At this point, it's been over 2 years since Insomniac first teased Marvel's Wolverine, and we're getting itchy to stab some bad guys already. That leaves 4 other Marvel games in various stages of development. EA has both an Iron Man game and a Black Panther game, both of which are still shrouded in mystery. There's also Skydance's World War II era Black Panther and Captain America game, and let's not forget that Bethesda and Arcane are working on Blade, which was one of the big surprise reveals at the 2023 Game Awards. It's probably too much to hope that any of these games will see release in 2024, but there's always a chance we'll be proven wrong. Which of these Marvel projects across these various mediums are you most excited about in 2024? Will Deadpool 3 be just what the MCU needs to turn itself around? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and for all things Marvel, make sure you like and subscribe to IGN wherever you watch.